The mission of VetBizTV is to highlight, honor, showcase, and support military veterans, veteran-owned businesses, veteran nonprofits, and veteran spouses, all doing great things in business and the community. Tune in to another great episode of VetBizTV. Today we visit with Giorgio Hopkins. Giorgio is a Madison, Wisconsin native and military veteran who served as a captain in the U.S. Marine Corps for 8 years. Giorgio is also a real estate investor with MLG Capital and is a city ambassador for Bunker Labs, which is a nonprofit with a mission of helping entrepreneurial veterans, veteran spouses, and veteran supporters start and grow successful businesses. So what is Bunker Labs, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, great question. So Bunker Labs, it's a nonprofit, and it's actually nationwide. It's founded several years ago, but more recently we've expanded to over 30 cities across the country. Ultimately, it's a nonprofit focused on helping veteran entrepreneurs either start or grow existing businesses. And we do so through both connecting them with local and national resources, but then also connecting them with tools to essentially help them along the path.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So I know you're associated with the Madison, Wisconsin Bunker Labs location. Yep. Can you explain a little bit about what you guys do there, and then what your role is with the organization as well?
I love it, yeah. So as I mentioned, there's over 30 chapters across the country. So Madison, Wisconsin is one of those chapters. So in Madison specifically, we kind of focus on helping the Madison community. But one thing that I've learned since coming on about 1.5 years ago as a city ambassador for Bunker Labs is that I think that there's a greater presence actually throughout the state of Wisconsin that we have not done a great job of serving. And I've been trying to, over the past several months, creatively think of ways to actually reach out and to connect that community with the resources as well. Because again, I think there's a benefit to, especially in this virtual world, being able to connect people locally with local resources, but there's also national resources available to people as well. So why not connect people throughout the state with both, if we could? But yeah, so in Madison specifically, we try to, we used to have a bigger budget, and we now have a smaller budget towards hosting different events to bring people together to network. And so we focus a lot on bringing both business leaders and veteran supporters, whether that be military affiliated or not, together into the same room to just network, hang out, and connect. We call those Bunker Connects.
Awesome.
And we used to host those a lot. Again, kind of has dribbled off of late just because, again, the budget is not what it used to be.
Well, COVID too.
And COVID, yeah, threw a huge wrench into live in-person events. So we have done pivots to virtual events. So National actually handles some of the virtual events that we host. And usually those are about once a month. But yeah, so that's fun. So that's kind of one tier of it. The second tier and kind of way that we help out veterans is connecting them with, we have an online portal called Bunker Online. And in that portal, ultimately it's a course that walks someone who maybe has a startup idea, but they don't have kind of a first product or an offering that they've sold. It helps them do validation of their idea. So walk them through the process of validating that idea. So then they get to
R&D.
Yeah,
R&D.
Exactly, R&D. And it gets them to a point to where now, okay, I think I have a viable product that I can sell, gets them to that first sale. Once they've made the first sale, they then will pivot into the next program offering, which we call Veteran in Residence. So with the Veteran in Residence program, ultimately what we try to do there is help them find their best, we call it product market fit. Ultimately, that just means that we're trying to help you find as many customers that are your best avatar as possible. And then once we've helped you find, okay, this is where my audience hangs out, I now know how to sell to that audience, I can now ramp up sales exponentially at that point. So those are kind of the first two programs that help veterans start and grow businesses. And then those that have existing businesses that are thriving, we have another tier of service called CEO Circle, which essentially is just a mastermind where we're bringing different CEOs of different businesses together on usually a monthly basis to then connect and again kind of mastermind and sharpen the saw, so to speak.
So are those guys a lot of the and gals? Are they the ones that have gone through the Veterans and Residents program, or are they already established businesses that are coming in, you know, from the outside?
Yeah, great question. So sometimes it's a little of both. Sometimes they've gone through the program of veteran residents and now they've seen a lot of success and now they're kind of stepping up to the next level. But then oftentimes, just because Bunker Labs is still relatively new, built within the last decade or established within the last decade, so we still have a lot of new organizations that haven't heard about us, right? But now they want to get tapped in and they want to join that mastermind, but they already have a successful, thriving business. So this is a way for them to get connected as well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So what does a veteran have to do to, you know, get in touch with Bunker Labs and start one of these programs with you guys?
Yeah, great question. So really you can reach out to any of the city ambassadors. So as of today, right now, this is March, actually April now.
1st, yeah.
Yeah, April 1st, April of 2022. So I'm one of the city ambassadors. We also have David McKenzie out of Madison, who's a city ambassador. And then we have Jesse R. His last name is really hard to pronounce, so I'm not even going to try, I'll butcher it. But he's up in Wausau, Wisconsin. Used to live in Madison. I'm originally from Madison, so I have a heart for Madison. But yeah, so all of those guys are the city ambassadors for Madison. And honestly, I'd love to expand the branding away from Madison and say Bunker Labs, Wisconsin, because again, I think it's a broader community, but that's probably a topic of conversation for the future. Maybe more to come here.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so anyone can reach out to any of us to get connected, whether it be on LinkedIn or through email, and then we can get you connected based on whatever you need. So if you just need a personal connection, we're more than happy to try to think through our network and connect you personally with someone. If you're looking for specific resources, I was just talking to a wealth manager the other day, and they were talking about, hey, we have this tech product that we're going to be launching, and this is kind of out of, not in a direct, they weren't having a conversation with me just to make an ask. We were just kind of talking back and forth through some stuff, and then this came up, hey, we have this thing that we're going to be raising money for in the future, this tech product. And I was like, huh. And one of the gentlemen happened to be a veteran. So I was like, have you tapped into some of like the veteran resources through Bunker Labs? And he mentioned, no, can you send me some stuff? So we sent him, there's currently a pitch competition going on nationwide to where they can go to one of these pitch competitions, pitch their tech, their future business in the competition and potentially get up to $100,000 of funding. So,
wow.
And I think they're giving out multiple prizes. That specific sponsorship is sponsored by USAA. So it's kind of a good opportunity to throw your name in the rink and go pitch your product.
Absolutely. So do you guys help with funding and stuff like that? So I'm sure, assuming some of these people come to you and they don't have anything.
Yeah.
And accept an idea.
Yep.
And then they come to you and you guys help them find the funding. Do you guys get grants to help pay with that, or do you set them up with like the SBA or something like that?
Great question. So yeah, it's more so directing them to the resources that could help them with funding. So if they're looking for lender funding or so like SBA would be great for that. If they're looking for someone that's looking for VC opportunities, right, we'll direct them to our contacts that are looking to invest in early stage ventures. If they're looking for an angel investor, we have a couple connections there as well. So hey, I don't have anything, but I got this great idea, but I need some angel capital, right? So
Absolutely.
We can direct them to there, have a conversation, pitch their product or their offering, to then see if they can get a full amount of funding for their endeavor. So yeah, ultimately we are just a connector piece. That's kind of our role, is not necessarily providing them with the direct resources, but providing them with the relationships and resources that will be able to help them ultimately strive or to get to where they want to end up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So outside of the mentorship part, because that's obviously a crucial part to the program, and helping these veterans get up on their feet with the activity or the business that they're trying to start. What other resources does Bunker Labs have, you know, that could help the business thrive and be successful down the road, like maybe financial courses and stuff like that. Is that all involved in the veteran in residence program, or?
Yeah. So I would say a lot of that is done in the veteran in residence program, but each program is, while it's somewhat curated already, it also is very tailored to the specific veterans in that cohort. So if I have a need, let's just say that we have a group of veterans that all have a need of raising venture capital, right? Then maybe a lot of the sessions that we have are focused around how do we get our presentation together to pitch towards venture capital firms.
Sure.
Or how do we, and actually practicing that so we can set them up for success as they go forth and have those conversations. But maybe there's another group that's already well established, and maybe they don't necessarily need funding, but they need help with marketing. So now a lot of the resources and conversations and mentorship is going to be sourced and targeted around marketing instead of VC. It's going to be very tailored towards the needs of those veterans. And so we try to have those one-to-one conversations and then learn what each wants, and then also let them help each other, because they all have their own background and set of experiences and connections that can help each other in the cohort as well. So we help them connect with each other and promote basically connection.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great, man. I mean, it sounds like you know a lot about the program. Obviously, you've been a part of it for a while. How did you get involved, number one? And then number two, like, you must have fell in love with it in some way, shape, or form, because you sound passionate about it.
For sure. So, funny story how I got involved. So I transitioned out of the Marine Corps back in 2018. When I was doing so, I was going through a program called Higher Honor Heroes Corporate Fellowship. So stay with me. I won't make a long story short. But this program, it was an awesome program, but it allowed me during my last 6 months of service to go and work for a civilian company. So I wound up going to work for a consulting agency out in DC. While I was out in DC, a good buddy of mine had just started I believe they called it Veterans, I'm blanking on the name of it, but essentially called a veteran nonprofit, sort of focused around like networking. So bringing veterans together to network. So connected with him, went to one of their events. The next event that they hosted was actually a joint event with Bunker Labs. So attended that event, not knowing what Bunker was at the time. Attended that event, met a guy named Kyle Arneson. You know Kyle, yeah. So Kyle's awesome.
Yeah.
Happens to be small world. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin. He was from Madison, Wisconsin.
He travels well.
He does travel well. He does travel well. So he was out there for the Bunker event because he used to be the Bunker ambassador for Madison as well. So I actually stepped into his shoes when he left. But so met Kyle. We immediately hit it off. He was telling me, yep, he was from Madison, Wisconsin. He went to Madison West, which is my rival high school. So obviously some good banter
Marines,
right there.
so you made up.
Both Marines, exactly. So we both went through the same NROTC program, being UW-Madison, both served in the Marines. So it's like, there were so many connections. I was just like, whoa, what the heck? You know, so it was exciting. So connected with him. He was like, hey, when you move back to Wisconsin, because that was my ultimate goal when I transitioned out, was to move back to Wisconsin. When you move back, come check out one of our Bunker Connect events. And then moved back, connected with him again, attended a few events. And then from there, it was just the more I kind of learned and was exposed, the more intrigued I became. And I also realized going through my own transition, I'm very entrepreneurial myself, but I had a lot of aspirations of starting my own business. And so I tapped into some of those resources and saw a lot of success. And we could talk about what I do now. I pivoted away from kind of those entrepreneurial ventures, so to speak, at least for the time being. But I was able to leverage some of the Bunker resources that helped me on my journey. And then I realized that there's so many other people that just don't know about Bunker Labs. They don't know about the resources that exist. And then even if we zoom out and away from just Bunker Labs, there are so many veteran resources out there in general and kind of all facets of life that can help individuals from a very personal level to really accomplish anything they want to accomplish.
Yeah.
And when I realized that so many people aren't even privy to the information that all these resources exist, it just blew my mind and made me passionate about trying to connect people more and more with those opportunities. So that's why I kind of raised my hand, wanted to get involved further with Bunker Labs, because I see it as a small step to help veterans. And if I can help them in grander ways with, getting connected with resources to help them with like VA benefits or, otherwise, I'm more than excited to do so.
Absolutely, that's awesome, man. Great to hear. I just want to thank you for coming on today.
Yeah,
but last question here. How can veterans and military spouses find out more information about Bunker Labs and some of the programs you offer? Yeah,
that's great. So they can go to bunkerlabs.org. That's our kind of headquarters website. And then they can see literally, despite whether they're here in Wisconsin or they're down in Florida or they're out in New York, we have literally 30 chapters across the country, alive and well and kicking and hosting events and connecting veterans in those communities. And again, it's local connection, but it's also the nationwide connections as well. So tap into one of the local communities by, again, just going through the website. And then there's also, you can create a profile on the Bunker Online website, and you can actually join one of the cities, one of the chapters through the portal, and now you can see everyone that's already connected in that city, and you can just send messages. So I'm connected in the Madison community. I'm connected Wisconsin. We have like a Wisconsin page, but so connect with me there. But they can also send me a direct email at giorgio.hopkins@bunkerlabs.org, which maybe we'll throw in the show note just so it'll spell my name wrong. But
definitely, we'll put your contact info in there.
Awesome, man.
Well, cool, brother. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Semper Fi.
Semper Fi.
If you support military veterans, military spouses, veteran-owned businesses, and veteran nonprofits, hit the subscribe button below and hit the bell to get alerts on new content coming out. We appreciate your support. If you know of any patriots doing great things in business and community that we should interview, please let us know in the comment section below. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode of VetBizTV.